and all, I'm Alexis, aka the Soft Reader, and I'm here today to do a video all about my favorite romance tropes. Now, right off the bat, obviously it's Valentine's Day, hence why I am doing this video. I also do want to apologize for no video going up on Monday. I just had like a really emotionally draining weekend, and it just like put me in a bad place, and like I wasn't feeling creative, so I didn't film anything. And then it was Monday night and I was like, no. So I do apologize for that, but I'm here on Valentine's Day to talk to you guys about romance tropes that I love and to hopefully get some recommendations for romances that feature these tropes, because like I couldn't even think of that many examples of books with these tropes that I like loved. So like please hit me up with more of these because I love these tropes. So the first one I'm going to mention above and beyond, one of my favorites is the fake boyfriend, fake girlfriend, fake significant other trope. I love this trope till the day I die. Like the minute I'm like, cool, it's a book about a character's going to their best friend's wedding, they don't have a date, they need a date, you random coworker, be my date for said event. I love it. I'm so here for that. I love it so much. I think part of the reason the first To All the Boys I've Loved Before book is my favorite book in the series is because it is about the fake boyfriend trope. It's about Laura Jean entering into a fake relationship with somebody for reasons, and I just like I love that so much. And like it's always funny, it's always awkward, and then like watching two people like genuinely fall in love with each other like because of that, I just, oh man, I love it so much. It's so good. The next one I'm gonna mention is one I actually couldn't think of a specific example for, which means I clearly haven't read enough of it, which sucks because it's a trope I love. But I love the like knight in love with royalty trope, where it's like in a fantasy or historical fiction even, where there's a knight and they're in love with like the person they're supposed to protect, they're supposed to guard or whatever, like whether it's a king, a queen, a prince or a princess. Like I love that trope. I mean, like you see them grapple with their love for this person and also like their duty to protect them. I love that trope so much. And the only example I could think of was Winter and Jocelyn from the Lunar Chronicles, but I didn't really want to use that one because they're not my favorite couple in the Lunar Chronicles. Though I do think there are hints of this trope in my favorite Lunar Chronicles couple, which is Scarlet and Wolf. I think there are little hints of that because we see Wolf like fight with his duty per se to like be with Scarlet, so like it's kind of in that ship, but not really. But if you guys know fantasy, science fiction, historical romance books that feature this trope in it, please let me know because I love this trope so much. Especially because there's usually a lot of like turmoil involved between like them being from different classes, one of them being like a prince or princess or a king or a queen, and them having like obligations to their country or their throne, and then like the guard character having obligations to like their duty and to their country. Like I love that. Like please give me more examples of that because it's so great. The next one I'm going to mention is the reluctant allies of circumstance romance trope. Love that one too. I do have a couple of good examples for this one. If you've read Under the Never Sky, Perry and Arya in that series are a great example of this. If you've read A Crown of Wishes by Roshani Chokshi, Vikram and Gowri are a good example of this. It's like two characters who have to become allies because of a certain circumstance. Either they're being like pushed together to try and survive, or they're pushed together to try and take down like a common enemy, and they don't really get along with each other at first, they don't really like each other at first, but they have to become allies to like achieve a goal. And then like over the course of like going for their goal, they fall in love, and I love it. Like I think like that one is actually a pretty common trope, but every time it happens I'm still sucked into it and I'm still so excited for it to happen. The next trope I'm going to mention is the polar opposites trope, which is just when two characters who are like totally different people really balance each other out, and that's what makes their romance so like perfect and their romance so swoony. I feel like a really good example of this is Monty and Percy from The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. You know, Monty is scandalous and he's impulsive and he doesn't really think things through. He also can be very self-centered, and by comparison, Percy is not like that at all. Percy is a lot more mild-mannered. He is a lot more thorough in his thought process. And so many times in this book, we see Percy and Monty approach situations totally differently and almost be frustrated with the way the other one approaches things. But I think that's what makes their romance so good, is because in the areas where Monty lacks, Percy really shines, and so they're a really, really good balance for one another. And I think that's why I like that trope so much, is because we see two people who like shouldn't get along, but they do because they're like such a good blend. I especially love this trope when it's like even more ridiculous, like when we have one person who's like a literal ball of sunshine, and then the other one is like, by comparison, like much more angry or much more like abrasive and is like much more of like a darker character. I really, really like that when two characters like that are blended together, but I couldn't think of a specific example. If you know a polar opposite couple like that, please recommend it to me, because I love it. The last thing I want to mention isn't actually like a trope per se, but I wanted to talk about it anyway because like I feel like all of my favorite romances fall under this, and that is that I love a good angsty romance. I am here for angst. All of my favorite books are angsty. All of my favorite romances are really angsty. For the most part, I enjoy books that are a lot more angsty. Like, just flatline, all of my favorite things pretty much are angsty. I like things that make me feel really strong emotions. You know, I prefer books that are gonna make me like cry at some point. It's just my taste. So I really, really like it when romances are super angsty, but I like a happy ending. You know, I like everything to wrap up and be nice, but like I want some angst before we get to that point. Like, that's just my personal taste. So keeping all of that in mind, I really would love to know your recommendations down in the comments below for any of the books that fall under this category. Like I said, like I prefer angst, but even if you find one of these romance tropes that's in a more lighthearted setting, like To All the Boys I've Loved Before, I still want you to recommend it to me, because like fluff has its place. But I would absolutely also love to know what you guys' favorite romance tropes are, and I'll see you guys soon with another video.